Good day, ladies and gentlemen. The title of my discourse today is The Pulley. This concept is highlighted further within the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, who do you think would be the happiest group of persons when Jesus comes? The thief, the publican, or the prostitute? Ladies and gentlemen, never had it ever dawned on my wildest imagination that prostitutes will be the happiest group of persons when Jesus comes, because they would not have to work anymore. It was midday. The sun was beating down upon earth with his fiery rays. Jesus and his disciples were tired and hungry from their long journey. A well was in sight. What a relief Jesus thought as he rushed over while his disciples decided to go on to town to buy food. Oh my! Jesus was disappointed as he came to his senses. I have nothing to push down into the well to take water. His stomach ached as he sat down with a sigh and his countenance drooped. Within a very short moment, Jesus lifted his head and his face began to lighten up as he saw a woman approaching the well with a bucket under her arm. "Will you give me a drink?" Jesus tried to brighten up to the woman as she reached the well. The woman stood up instantly and looking Jesus up and down from head to foot, casting her nose and eyes in wonderment, she spoke. Wonders never cease." She put her hand on her waist, then continued, "You are a Jew, and I a Samaritan woman. How come you asking me for a drink?" She clenched her. She punched her thumb with her clenched fist to emphasize the me. Jesus, taking hold of the situation, relaxed and lifted his left leg and crossed it at the ankle over against his right thigh. He studied the woman slightly. Then he gave a composed smile, which showed itself at the corners of his cheeks. Then he answered the woman, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living waters." His voice was cutting with his smoothness and authority. The woman became flushed on the inside. Her knees trembled as she imagined she had made a mistake in her perception of this man. Who was he, she wondered? She wanted instantly to be kind, but she felt nervous. She felt perplexed. When she spoke, there was anxiety in her voice. "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well?" Jesus gripped the woman with his eyes as he continued to cut you to her inside with his voice. "Everyone who drinks this water in this well will be thirsty again. But whosoever drinks the water that I give him will never thirst again. Indeed, the water I give will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life." The woman was overwhelmed. Her heart burst with admiration and longing and she could not contain her composure any longer. She fell down at Jesus' feet and she begged earnestly, with tears into her eyes and streaming down her cheeks. "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." Jesus relaxed his gaze and turned slightly, returning the left leg to its former position in the process. Then he said to the woman, "Go and call your husband and come back." The woman held on to Jesus' feet with a firm grip of the hands. "I have no husband," she replied, as she looked longingly in Jesus' face. Jesus nodded his head slightly 3 times, folding his cheek tightly with each nod. Then he looked with compassion on the woman as he brushed a tear from the corner of his eyes. Then he spoke. "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have just said is quite true." The woman released her hold on Jesus' feet and sat down a little to the side, giving Jesus her attention with a glance of the head. She contemplated as she spoke. "I perceive you are a prophet," she said to Jesus. The conversation continued over the different views of the Jews and the Samaritans about worship. As Jesus began to clarify what he considered true worship, the woman's mind sparkled. She turned around and watched Jesus straight in the eyes with a definite expression. "I know Messiah, called Christ, is coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." She maintained her gaze. Jesus met her gaze with a sharper and more piercing one. Then he proclaimed to the woman, "I who speak to you now, I am he." Something immediately began to ebb up and rise up and swell up and run around the woman. She leapt to her feet. The iron bucket, which was in her lap, dropped to the ground instantly. The noise startled Jesus. He bent down to pick it up, but when he looked up with outstretched arms to the woman, there was no one in sight. Instead, he beheld his disciples looking steadfastly towards the tomb. The woman was running towards the tomb with the speed of a fast-distance runner. When the woman arrived in the tomb, she began chorusing excitedly, her arms wobbling in the air. "Come, see a man who told me everything I did. Could this be the Christ? All through the years we waited, hoping. Could this be he? Come, come, come and see." John 4:4-42.